He who fails to see evil as it begins is not truly prudent.
Some are born asleep. Others choose to open their eyes even when it hurts. What you're about to hear is not advice. It's a warning. For centuries, men have sought power while pretending to be virtuous. But there was one who never pretended. Tonight, from the depths of the shadows, Machiavelli will speak. And when he does, you'll understand why truth does not save. Truth rules.
For years, I believed truth held power, that simply showing it would make men open their eyes. What a childish mistake. Truth without emotion is a closed book. I learned that the first time I spoke before the Council of Florence. I was young. I entered with arguments, data, pure logic. I spoke of the people, of hunger, of corruption. When I finished, there was silence. I thought they were reflecting. But they were only waiting for me to end, so they could applaud the next speaker. He brought no evidence, no ideas, no vision, just a smile and a story that made them feel hope. And the council followed him. That day, I understood that power doesn't live in reason, it lives in tremor. A reasonable man can show you the path, but an emotional man makes you walk it. I saw that law in palaces, in churches, in markets. Those who moved the people never spoke to the mind. They spoke to fear, to vanity, to desire. One night, the ambassador of Venice came to negotiate peace. He was brilliant, cold, flawless. He explained his terms like a mathematician, with precision. When he finished, my Lord Lorenzo smiled and said nothing. He only sighed and pretended sadness. "If I accept this," he said softly, "my people will believe I've betrayed their hope." The ambassador looked at him, confused. In 3 sentences, Lorenzo turned a political negotiation into an emotional scene. I saw him shatter a diplomat with the feeling he had invented. And I understood. Power is never imposed. It's injected. Emotion is the most perfect virus mankind ever created. Through my travels, I learned to recognize the symptoms. The gaze that lights up with a promise. The voice that trembles before a beautiful lie. The heart that chooses to believe what is convenient. I saw a preacher fill entire squares with his sermons about divine goodness, while selling forgiveness for coins. I saw nobles feign compassion only to gain power over the people. And I saw common men, the most naive, defend those who despise them simply because they made them feel important. I realized that whoever controls what others feel no longer needs to persuade them. He only needs to let them persuade themselves. The powerful don't win debates, they win atmospheres. In the game of power, emotion is the board, and reason is just a piece. If you want to move souls, don't speak to them about the future. Make them fear the present. Don't show them data, show them an enemy. Crowds don't follow ideas. They follow emotions that make them forget their weakness. That's why, when the people cry for justice, they don't seek balance, they seek revenge. When they say love, they mean possession. When they say truth, they mean comfort. And when they say faith, they're seeking someone who lies to them tenderly. I, Machiavelli, didn't create these laws. I only saw them. And the darkest truth is, once you see them, you can never unsee them. Humanity doesn't move by reason. It moves by wounds. And whoever knows how to touch them will rule without a throne. If you've listened this far, it isn't out of curiosity. It's because something within you has already awakened. From now on, swear this with me. I will not speak to convince, I will speak to move. I will not seek to be right, I will seek direction. I will not be the victim of my emotions. I will be the one who commands them. Because power is not shouted, power is breathed. Block 2. Weakness protects no one. For years, I believed that kindness was enough. That if one acted with purity, the world would respond with justice. What a costly mistake. I witnessed the weak being devoured by their own virtue. I remember a man named Cesare Rucellai. He was honorable, generous, loved by all. When the political conflicts began, he chose neutrality. He said he didn't want enemies. But in Florence, neutrality isn't virtue. It's a crack. While he offered dialogue, his rivals plotted his fall. When they finally surrounded him, they didn't need to prove his guilt. It was enough to call him weak. The same crowd that once admired him watched him kneel in silence. They sent him into exile, and no one spoke for him. That night I wrote something that still hurts to repeat. Kindness without strength doesn't inspire love. It inspires contempt. I didn't write it with pride, but with exhaustion. I had seen kings destroyed by compassion, fathers betrayed by their patience, and lovers who mistook surrender for respect. I learned that weakness is not a moral flaw. It's a strategic fragility. The world doesn't attack evil. It attacks what cannot defend itself. In court, a kind man without character was feared more than a cruel one. The cruel man, at least, had limits. The weak had none. I remember when Duke Valentino called me to his council. He said, "Machiavelli, people fear the tyrant, but they take advantage of the kind." I understood then, weakness protects no one, not even the innocent, because compassion, when it has no boundaries, ceases to be virtue. It becomes an invitation. The weak believe that by yielding they will avoid conflict. But what they really do is feed it. Wolves don't attack out of hunger. They attack when they smell fear, and fear has a scent that never lies. I saw it in the eyes of a general who hesitated before giving an order, in the gestures of a politician who apologized for speaking firmly, in the faces of men who sought approval from those who despised them. They were all devoured, not by their enemies, but by their desire to be liked. Do not confuse respect with acceptance. Respect is earned by setting boundaries. Acceptance is bought by surrendering them. Whoever seeks to be loved before being strong ends up a slave to those who neither love nor respect him. So hear me when I say this. Weakness doesn't protect. Weakness surrenders. And the saddest part is that the weak always believe the world hurts them out of injustice. They never see that it was their softness that opened the door. If you've understood these words, engrave this oath in your mind like a mark. I will no longer ask permission to exist. I will no longer apologize for my strength. I will no longer mistake goodness for weakness. From this day on, my compassion will have an edge, because only the strong can afford to be just. Block 3. Loyalty is the disguise of survival. During the years I served the Republic of Florence, I learned that betrayal never comes dressed as an enemy. It comes smiling. I remember the day one of my closest allies, Paolo Vettori, swore loyalty to me before the council. Hours later, he was seen bargaining my name with the enemy. He didn't do it out of hatred or ambition. He did it out of fear. And that was my first great lesson. Most men don't betray out of evil. They betray out of survival. Today they adore the Duke. Tomorrow they deny him. And when power changes hands, they change with it. So when you hear the word loyalty, don't think of love. Think of convenience. I saw popes swear eternal alliances that lasted a week. I saw generals kiss the hand of the very man they planned to overthrow. I saw friends drink together, and later, in the dark, sell each other for a rumor. No pact survives the weight of interest. Loyalty is real only while someone profits from it. That truth didn't make me cynical. It made me lucid. Because when I understood that love, loyalty, and devotion fade at the same speed as their usefulness, I stopped being naive. I accepted that fidelity cannot be demanded. It must be inspired. And it's inspired not through kindness, but through power. A soldier follows a general not because he loves him, but because he feels the general knows where he's going. A subject obeys a prince not because he admires him, but because he fears being left outside his shadow. In politics, in war, and in love, loyalty is not emotion. It is calculation. That's why the one who gives blind loyalty without reciprocity is not noble. He is a hostage. I saw it again and again. Men who sacrificed everything for others who would not have lifted a finger for them. They were called loyal. But in truth, they were useful. And when their usefulness ended, so did their place in history. Do not mistake love for permanence. Do not mistake words for a pact. And never, never give your loyalty to someone who only offers promises. If you truly wish to live with clarity, take this oath now, not with your voice, but with conviction. I will not give loyalty to those who will not return it. I will not die for causes that would not die for me. I will not confuse attachment with faith. My word will be my sword, my silence, my shield. True loyalty is never promised. It is proven. And if ever I must choose between being betrayed or betraying myself, I will choose to survive. Block 4. Reputation, the invisible shield of power. When I was exiled from Florence, what hurt the most was not solitude, but watching those who once admired me pretend not to know my name. In a matter of days, my name ceased to be a presence and became a warning. I hadn't changed my thoughts, nor my work, nor my actions. The only thing that had changed was my reputation. That was when I understood. Reputation is the most subtle form of power, and also the most cruel. It doesn't belong to the one who deserves it, but to the one who controls it. In the court, a well-placed rumor was worth more than a proven truth. A whisper could destroy what an entire life had built. And yet, a myth, well told, could turn an ordinary man into an immortal legend. That's why the powerful don't guard their souls as much as their image. Because they know the world doesn't judge what you are, only what you appear to be. I saw weak kings pretend to be fierce and rule for decades. I saw virtuous men show honesty and be devoured in weeks. The people do not love truth. They love symbols. And in politics, the symbol always defeats the fact. When Duke Valentino entered a city, he didn't worry first about his enemies. He worried about his entrance. He wanted to be seen as a god before his voice was even heard. His reputation walked before him, opening doors that no sword could open. And I understood. True power is not in being feared or loved. It's in being perceived as inevitable. So hear me. If the world is going to invent a story about you, you'd better be the one to write it first. Reputation is not vanity. It's strategy. It's the wall that separates respect from oblivion. But beware. The same fire that gives you light can also consume you. If you speak too much, you lose mystery. If you justify yourself, you lose strength. If you seek to be understood, you become transparent. And what power can read, power can destroy. Protect your silence as you would your life. Because silence keeps the shadow alive, and from that shadow, authority is born. It doesn't matter if the world doesn't understand you. What matters is that the world never knows how much it should fear you. If you have understood this warning, repeat with me. Not aloud, but with your gaze. I will not explain my worth. I will not beg for recognition. I will not waste my strength trying to convince. I will become my own myth. Because what the world does not understand, it respects. And what it respects, it obeys. Block 5. The Invisible War. There is a lie the naive have repeated for centuries, that peace is man's natural state. It is not. War never disappears. It only changes its stage. In my time, men died on battlefields. Today they die of exhaustion, of fear, of distraction. But the principle remains the same. There is always someone who wants what you have. And while you sleep, someone is planning how to take it. That is why I once wrote, "War cannot be avoided, only postponed to the advantage of others." Many did not understand. They thought I spoke of armies. No, I spoke of minds. Every time you lower your guard, You surrender invisible ground. Your time, your attention, your respect, your will. That is the war of your century. They don't seek your land. They seek your mind. In my age, the enemy could be seen approaching. Now they wear the mask of opportunity. They smile as they measure you. They praise you as they evaluate you. They offer help while they write down your weaknesses. They don't need swords. They have words. They don't attack. They erode. They don't destroy. They dissolve. That's why modern war is more dangerous, because it no longer roars. It whispers. It unfolds in conversations, in networks, in promises, in long silences. And when you finally realize it, you are no longer the same. I remember a French ambassador, a master of diplomatic poison. He never raised his voice. He never threatened. Yet with every word he spoke, an ally hesitated, an agreement cracked, a seed of doubt began to grow. That was war. And he won it without spilling a drop of blood. The invisible war doesn't seek blood. It seeks control. So you must learn to see it before you feel it. Observe the gestures, the pauses, the tones. Listen to what is not said. That is the battlefield. When the enemy seems kind, when the air feels calm, when peace appears eternal, that is when you must sharpen your mind. Because calm is only the breath that war takes before whispering in your ear. If you've understood this, make this oath. I will not sleep in calm. I will not lower my guard for comfort. I will not mistake peace for safety. My mind will be my sword, my boundaries, my shield. And if war comes disguised as a smile, I will be the first to see it, and the last to fall. Block 6. Kindness as a trap. I have seen the wisest men fall, not because of their enemies, but because of their need to please. In the court, the kindest man was always the first to die. Not because he was weak, but because he confused courtesy with virtue. He tried to earn respect with smiles, and ended up surrounded by wolves. I learned something no teacher ever dares to teach. Kindness born from fear is not nobility. It is submission with perfume. In my time, many hated me for saying this, because truth has the touch of iron. But iron also cuts through lies. I saw it in the palace of Pope Alexander VI. A cardinal, gentle in word and gesture, sought safety by being pleasant and useful. One night, I found him on his knees, begging for mercy before the same duke who had praised him the day before. He didn't understand that power never respects those who bow too low. Courtesy without firmness becomes a language understood only by predators. And deep down, all men, even the just ones, want to know how far they can go with you. Every time you stay silent to avoid offending, you teach the world your silence is for sale. Every time you smile out of fear of conflict, you teach that your limits can be bent. And every time you apologize for existing, you teach the world it can erase you whenever it wishes. I don't tell you to be cruel. I tell you to learn the difference between compassion and weakness, because compassion is born from control. Weakness is born from fear. I have seen gentle men become slaves and hard men become legends, not because they lacked heart, but because they knew that sometimes the soul must learn to close its hand. True virtue doesn't seek approval. It seeks balance. If your kindness cannot protect your limits, then it works against you. Courtesy without strength doesn't bring peace to the world. It feeds its hunger. Because every act of weakness creates a new tyrant. And in the game of power, tyrants are not born. They are made by the meek. Make this oath with me, not as a promise, but as a warning carved into your soul. I will not use kindness to hide my fear. I will not mistake sweetness for virtue. I will not allow my compassion to be read as weakness. I will be fair, but relentless toward disrespect. Empathetic, but incorruptible in my limits. And if the world calls me harsh, I will smile. For I would rather be respected in solitude than loved in servitude. I would rather let my silence cut than let my voice beg. Block 7. Controlled deception, the art of concealment. There is something most men will never understand. Truth is a weapon too heavy to lay on the table all the time. They believe that saying everything makes them noble. But in the real world, saying everything makes them predictable. In Florence, I learned that power is not measured by what you reveal, but by what others fail to decipher. When Prince Borgia wanted to find a traitor, he didn't interrogate him. He filled him with false information, made him believe he was in control. And when that man repeated the wrong words, the source of the leak became clear. That was when I discovered one of the most brutal rules of strategy. Whoever needs to be transparent is already subdued. Absolute transparency is not virtue. It is disarmament. To show everything, say everything, feel everything. It only serves the one watching from above. Why do you think wolves hunt in silence? Because sound betrays weakness. The mask is not hypocrisy, it is defense. In the Italian courts, those who showed their hearts ended up gutted. The powerful learned to speak in layers. One phrase, 3 meanings. One smile, 2 intentions. One silence, a minefield. I have seen men fall because they could not stay quiet. And I have seen men rise because they knew when to appear ignorant. To feign weakness can save you more often than any sword. So hear me. Don't hide to deceive. Hide to survive. Don't lie for pleasure. Lie for purpose. The difference between the manipulator and the strategist is intent. The manipulator deceives out of fear. The strategist deceives out of vision. Power doesn't demand constant brutality. It demands selective silence. Take this oath with me. I will not reveal everything I know. I will not explain everything I feel. I will not justify every move. My words will be my fog, my actions, my true language. And if the world must see me as weak, I will allow it, only to see who smiles before they strike. Block 8. The art of making others wait. Power speaks a language the impatient will never learn. That language is time. The weak ask. The strong make others wait. I have seen kings lose their authority for one simple reason. They spoke too soon. Because those who cannot endure silence end up surrendering before the right moment. Time is the invisible rope with which wills are tamed. In my days, when an ambassador pressed too hard, I would answer with a smile. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I simply made him wait. And each day that passed without an answer, his anxiety consumed him. In the end, time said what I never needed to. That is psychological mastery, forcing others to move within your rhythm. Those who cannot control their urgency become servants to the one who can. How many times have you lived this? You wait for a message, a response, a sign. And while you burn in impatience, the other grows stronger through your weakness. Every second of your anxiety gives them power. I once wrote, "He who cannot wait cannot command." Because command is not an order, it is a calm that compels. Look at the animals. The predator doesn't chase every sound. It waits. It watches. And when it moves once, but that is enough to kill. Meanwhile, the impatient man exhausts himself chasing everything that moves. And when his real opportunity arrives, he has no strength left, no authority. That is why I say, power does not shout. Power breathes. Power does not rush. It sits and lets others reveal themselves through their own anxiety. Patience is not weakness. It is refined torture. Take this oath with me. I will not run after what is not yet mine. I will not demand answers before their time. I will not give my power to those who make me wait. My calm will be my punishment, my silence, my threat. And when all others grow restless, I will keep watching. Because the one who knows how to wait rules over the one who trembles. Block 9. Reality is not what you see. The greatest mistake of mankind is not believing lies. It is believing that it sees the truth. No one sees the world as it is. We see it as we are. And that is the oldest trick of power. To shape minds so they never question their prison. When I was a counselor, I saw nobles passionately defend laws that kept them enslaved. and I saw the poor hate their own freedom because someone taught them to fear it. It wasn't magic. It was perception. If you make a man believe the fire keeps him warm, he will stand still while it burns him. That, my friend, is the darkest art of all. To control without touching, to rule without commanding. The masses don't need chains. They only need a story sweet enough to stop them from wanting to break them. Have you never felt it? That unease, when you sense that everything you've learned might be an illusion. Education, morality, faith, success. All of it can be programming, designed to keep you docile. Machiavelli once said without trembling, "He who controls what men believe controls what they will do." It's not about lying. It's about defining reality before others do. In politics, whoever names first commands thought. In war, whoever defines the enemy wins morale. In life, whoever decides what success means controls those who chase it. But there is something power never foresaw. Some men learn to see beyond the veil. Once you recognize that everything around you is designed, you stop being a piece and become the player. There is no worse enemy than the one who has already seen the entire board. Now listen closely. I will make this oath with you. I will not accept any truth without looking at it twice. I will not follow any law that makes me feel small. I will not serve any power that feeds on my fear. I will see what others refuse to see. And when the world calls me mad, I will know I am beginning to see clearly. Block 10. The price of seeing too much. When you learn to see the truth, you discover something no one ever told you. Clarity does not bring peace. The more you understand, the more alone you become. Because most people do not want to know. They want to keep dreaming. And the one who sees what others ignore becomes a threat. That is how prophets fall, how philosophers are silenced, how dissenters vanish. Not by the edge of a sword, but by the fear of those who live asleep. In Florence, I learned this far too soon. A wise man needs no enemies. His wisdom is enough for others to hate him. When you begin to see how illusions are made, how truth and lies are chosen and shaped, you realize the whole world is a stage. The powerful pretend to have morals. The moralists pretend to have power. And the weak pretend not to see. Everyone plays a part, but only a few write the script. You must decide who you will be. The actor who repeats his lines, or the author who writes the play. That path has a price. Discomfort. When you can no longer believe hollow speeches, when ignorance no longer shelters you, silence becomes your only ally. Many confuse it with coldness. It is not. It is lucidity. The one who sees too much no longer reacts like others. He watches, he waits, he calculates. And in that calculation, mastery is born. Truth will not set you free. It will make you dangerous. Make this oath with me. I will not close my eyes, even if what I see brings pain. I will not pretend calm, even when the world trembles. I will not trade clarity for the comfort of belonging. I will walk among shadows with my eyes open, and when others flee from the truth, I will face it. Because only the one who dares to see deserves to rule. Block 11. The birth of the new prince. For centuries, men have searched for kings, for gods, for systems. They begged others to save them, because they were afraid to rule themselves. But that era is over. No more princes are born of blood. Today, power is conceived in the mind. And you, who have come this far, can no longer pretend you do not know. He who understands the mechanism of power, even while living among shadows, is no longer a subject. He is an architect. The world is not a battlefield. It is a board. The weak react, the strong design. While others seek justice, you must seek vision. Because the one who sees farther never needs to shout. Remember what the ancients knew. Power is not conquered by force. It is conquered by understanding. And when you understand how souls move, the entire world moves with you. This is the secret kingdoms feared you would discover. Power is not outside. It is within you. In your silence. In your observation. In your ability to act without announcing it. When you master your impulse, you master your destiny. When you choose when to speak and when to stay silent, you rule over those enslaved by their own noise. So listen carefully. The new prince does not command. He influences. He does not conquer. He shapes. He does not promise. He becomes. Because modern power needs no crowns. It only needs minds that can see in the dark. When the old world collapses and the weak run in search of leaders, you will not run. You will walk, slowly, because the one who masters his pace masters his era. Now take this final oath with me. I will serve no throne. I will kneel before no idol. I will not give my voice to noise, nor my mind to fear. I will forge my destiny in silence. I will be the fox when the trap is unseen. I will be the lion when silence must roar. I will not seek to be loved. I will seek to be remembered. Because power is not inherited, it is revealed. And I have awakened. There is no ending, only an echo that changes its master. The fire you saw burning was never mine. It was yours, waiting to be lit. The words fade, the images dissolve. But what you have understood cannot be forgotten. All visible power decays. Only the power born from silence endures. When you walk out of here, the world will look the same, but you will not be. Because you have learned the lesson kings feared most. True dominion is not over others, but over oneself. Say nothing. Explain nothing. Just watch. And let the world begin to reveal itself to you. The flame does not die. It only changes hands.